2 years ago, an EF4 tornado ripped through several communities. Elkhorn, Bennington, Blair, leaving a long path of destruction behind. Hard to believe no one was killed in Nebraska.
Well, First Alert 6's Andrew Pfeiffer spent today with neighbors in Elkhorn, reflecting on how far they've come since that devastating storm. Andrew's live in the studio for us tonight.
Well, Brian and Zena, the people I spoke with today say 2 years feels both like forever and just like it was yesterday. The homes are being rebuilt, the streets are coming back, but many here will tell you the emotional wounds are still very much open. 2 years ago.
Dear God, that is a large tornado.
Look at it, there it is, it's it.
A massive EF4 tornado ripped through the heart of an Elkhorn neighborhood.
2 of them right behind our house.
Leaving residents of Ramblewood forever scarred.
It was like a bomb went off, honestly.
Brandon Baxter Brown had a close call. He had just gotten home.
I walked to the upstairs window and I seen low, very dark clouds moving very quickly.
He then rushed to the basement, clinging to only but a pipe.
It was maybe 15 minutes of actual time, but in reality it felt like an eternity.
Once the tornado passed, Brandon stepped outside.
There was wailing. People were walking out of their houses, just breaking down and crying because of all of the devastation.
While every other house around him was destroyed, miraculously, Brandon's was untouched.
It's the whim of the wind whether or not your house is destroyed.
Brandon then ran across the street to help his elderly neighbors.
And it's not safe, and I don't recommend it, but I fished under the walls for her prescription medication, her keys to her car, her husband's insulin. It was chaos. It was absolute chaos. Yeah.
While recovery efforts are still happening all around him, 2 years later, Brandon believes his neighborhood is closer because of the tornado.
It was really amazing how quickly you come together as a community whenever you're in a disaster like that.
Recovery efforts are still going on even today, but they have made quite the progress in those last 2 years. But this chapter may soon be closing. This Wednesday, the Omaha Community Foundation is hosting a commemoration event, bringing together survivors, first responders, and recovery partners to mark the end of a 2-year coordinated relief effort. Survivors will share their stories of finding a new normal. Reporting live in the studio, Andrew Pfeiffer, First Alert 6.
Yeah, certainly a lot has changed since then, Andrew. Thank you.